Hey YouTube, welcome back to my third-person action roguelike devlog. This is the fourth video in the series where I'll be going over the last two characters before early access, upgrades, and some new enemies. These two characters were extremely fun to make and play around with, so I hope you look forward to enjoying them too. And if you do, like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. The first character I'd like to introduce is Flo, one of the most dynamic characters in the game. Flo's passive is evasion. The longer they go without being hit, the more meter they gain. Simple enough, but they obviously needed some way of avoiding being hit. Flo's primary and secondary attack have been replaced by two grappling hooks, left click for the left grapple and right click for the right grapple. Internally, these both use a resource that is spent as you hold on, and recovers while no grapples are attached. I'm working on a UI for it as well. Flo's primary ability is really their main attack. Flo fires an icy spear from the wrist that explodes on impact, doing large damage in an area around the impact point. Flo's secondary ability is Bombardment. Flo unleashes 3 icy grenades that explode in a large overlapping area. Flo's tertiary ability is Spiral Dash. Flo quickly launches themselves in the direction of their grapple hooks, damaging all enemies along the way. This is also useful as a movement ability to kickstart your momentum. Flo's signature ability is Barrage. Flo unleashes a large volley of spears directly below, dealing massive damage to all enemies underneath. I really wanted this character to feel smooth, dynamic, and given you'll be in the air most of the time, give you that sort of AC 130 kind of playstyle where you're unleashing a bombardment of destruction below you. Moving on to my next character, and I will say they're pretty hot, Inferna. Inferna is a fast-hitting fire mage who is slowly being overrun by her own power. For this character, I really want to give people that endgame feeling for carries in MOBAs, attacking extremely fast while doing very heavy damage. A lot of my other characters are slower hitting, so I wanted a very fast hitter as well. Her passive is Heating Up. Every time your attacks hit an enemy or one of her abilities, she gains meter, which gives her up to 3 times faster attack speed. Her primary attack unleashes a chunk of lava from her hands in an alternating fashion. She literally has finger guns. Her secondary attack is Double Kick. Inferna unleashes a fireball from both of her feet, which explodes in a large area around it. Her primary ability is pretty simple. It's a way to kickstart her passive when there's no enemies around. Inferna strengthens her core powers and grants herself a large burst of attack speed. Her secondary ability is Eruption. After a small delay, Inferna creates an erupting crater at a target position, which periodically fires lava particles outwards. The speed at which they are released depends on her attack speed, so the best use of this ability is when you already have a large attack speed boost from her passive. Her tertiary ability is Skyburst. Inferna flips vertically and delivers a large explosion at her feet, propelling her upwards and dealing damage around her. After using this ability, or anytime she's in the air, she can hold space to hover, slowing her descent. Her signature ability is Unstable Lava. She unleashes a large ball of lava forward that periodically explodes. Inferna can then attack the orb to make it explode. It explodes on any contact with your primary attacks and detonates after being hit or exploding 10 times. Each explosion increases the area of the explosion. Altogether, once you get her passive up and running, this really makes her feel like an endgame attack damage carry in a MOBA, where you're unleashing a massive barrage of attacks, devastating everything in front of you. Next up, I want to talk about upgrades. I've been working on a UI for this, and it's been challenging, but I think I've arrived at something that works well. In my previous video, I talk about ability upgrades as items. Well, whenever you get one of these, you acquire a point to allocate for that specific ability's upgrade tree. I'd like each character to have their own specific upgrades to certain abilities, but here's a look at some of them. Bonuses that provide critical strike chance, damage, increased area of effect, more projectiles, or even unique abilities like causing your projectiles to return. I wanted to pack in interesting upgrades to each ability, to really make your character feel like they evolve as you play. And given the game is procedural, ideally you won't be going the same build every time, as you may only get 1 to 2 secondary attack upgrades, but 6 upgrades for your primary attack, so you may lean into your primary attack more. The final product making you feel like an extremely powerful god whose abilities clear out massive sections of your screen at once. Speaking of enemies, I've added 2 more enemies, one which leaps around and launches a large ball of poisonous bile, and another winged entity which hurls deceptively easy to dodge skill shots at you. I really like this attack because the obvious way to dodge this ability is to stand still, but standing still will likely mean you get hit by other abilities. There's also a boss version of it. So that's all for now. This may be the last devlog I make revolving around characters, and I plan to release a trailer and a Steam page soon. So please be on the lookout for that, and wishlist the game once it's available on Steam. Wishlists are really what make or break for indie games, so I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.